Hello, guys.
Hi, welcome back for part 2 of the Dilemma Stroke Q&A episode.
Yeah.
If you haven't caught up on the other one, you can decide to start with this one, go back to that one, or...
That one was actually very
quickly start with
interesting,
that
to be honest. Some of the topics we covered, honestly, I know I liked the last episode that we did. Yeah.
Friendships and relationships, we talked about.
We talked about content creation and the journey and whatnot. Yeah, it was a vibe. And we hope this is the same. And thank you guys so much for sending in your dilemmas or your cues for us to answer. I think this is something we want to keep doing on a regular basis. As long as you guys keep engaging with us, we're more than happy to have segments where we dedicate to dilemma/Q&A. That is, I don't know if anyway, I was going to say, I don't know if I like to call them dilemmas or cues, but anyway, whatever they are, we're always willing to solve their problems.
You can find something for it, like a name.
Yeah. So then you were sending some questions there, questionable. You need to ask.
But then we've not so mad some people because some of the questions, like, we're not getting the gist of what we were looking for. What's your favorite sport?
Surely.
How long have you stayed without showering?
Now, why is that information you want to know?
How long have you stayed without showering? I think maybe 1 night or 2 nights.
2 nights.
I think, but it was like camping, St. John and stuff, maybe.
Me camping, the last time I went was like in primary. PA. I never was in PA. I was the least active person you could think of when I was in high school.
Considering I'm not an active person physically, I don't know what I was doing in PA, but...
I became very active in first year before pre-pandemic. But otherwise in high school, I hated being active. Anyway, veering off. Yeah, so we're going to tackle the last bunch of dilemmas. The first question is, hey, that's a tough one. Watch nianze light. How do you handle ghosting? 4 months in and I'm still healing from that.
Wow.
Move on.
Have you ever been ghosted?
I think so. I just don't remember when.
Yeah.
But 100%, or maybe they take 3 days to respond. If you really liked me, would you take 3 days to respond, or you respond in seconds, surely?
Yeah, that's have you ghosted
but I'm a serial ghoster, Mimi.
Why do you do that? Let's unpack that.
I am proud. Because even just my friends who text me, like, generally, I'm just terrible at responding to people.
I think because us it's intertwined with work, so you have to talk to me.
Yeah. Otherwise, like, genuinely, like, I'm a terrible person when it comes to responding to some messages. But the people talk about thinking you've responded, or I'll see the message and I say, okay, I've seen the message, I'll respond to it when I get to it. And then I just don't get to it. So me, I'm a serial ghoster for real. Or, okay, if I'm not interested in you like that, like... I know it's not the best thing to do because it's like, why are you ghosting someone? So you just tell them what the issue is. But it just happens.
It's
uncomfortable. But it's also like weird because now I'll end up seeing you maybe somewhere and I'm like, oh my gosh,
you just left it in limbo.
So now should I talk to you? Do you want to talk to me? Have you ghosted someone?
I wouldn't say ghosting, but it's just that one where I don't tell you I'm not interested, but I won't reply to your text. When you call, I'll decide when I want to pick up.
Yeah, it starts slowly.
And then what's this thing? When you say, oh yeah, let's link up, I'll torture you, but I won't go through it. Yeah. But someone called me out on that. Hey? I was pissed by the way. I'm the prize. Don't shout at
Alexia
me.
Maji. Like, what did they say?
So now we were in that funny space or limbo, and then we met in a public place. So of course, as you said, don't know, should you say hi to each other? So me thinking, whatever. I think I was just like, hi, and was like, excuse me, hey. Oh, you can't be acting like that. So do what. And okay, I was like, cool, whatever. I appreciated it and understood. I was like, and I think after that experience with anyone that I'm talking to, or it sort of made me be like, okay, you know what? Grow some balls and actually just say, I'm not feeling this, or I'm not in that space right now. And I'm sorry, I just don't, not even sorry, but I just don't think I'm interested.
space.
And you're allowed to change your mind. Maybe you had some type of
maybe
energy.
you thought that maybe it could potentially be something.
But it's a sign of you respect someone, and it's a sign of maturity. So I think after that, of course, in the moment it was ego, and I was like, who does he think he is? You know, ooh. But later on, I was like, by the way, it's fine. You know, it's better to just say that than lead someone on and make it super awkward. Because I thought about it, like, if I actually told him I'm not into this, even that day we met, we would chill, you know, because he already knows where I'm at and I've made it clear, and whatever happens after that, and maybe not in that moment I'm not into it, but maybe later it will grow into that, you know, it will give us a space to even
to have that
opportunity to see,
instead
you
of
know,
some foul
exactly.
relationship.
Yeah, so it's hard, but it's uncomfortable. But I think it's always better to do it that way.
Let me, like, before you got into your relationship, did you go through a period where maybe you had to like cut people off?
Like niggas?
Yeah. Or like ghosted people, or were you talking to anyone at that time that it was like, okay, you had to...
is that ghosting? Actually, yeah. There's... Come here, I'm a ghoster. It's blocking, ghosting.
Blocking?
Yeah. Oh my God. Ghosting. Yeah. Before I got into a relationship, like before I even met my current partner, of course I was dating, I was seeing people, I had certain interests, situationships, you know. But of course it reached a point where some were looking like we're wasting each other's time. If you wanted me to be your girlfriend, we could have not been talking for 18 months, 1 year, 6 months, surely. You know, we've gone through a whole pandemic. Really, you should know what you want in life. So I did have to block certain things, like actually blocking. I'm not even a blocker, but yeah, I was like, we're wasting each other's time. You know, we need space. And of course, the person's like, oh, Connie, you blocked me. I'm like, yeah.
You met them after?
No, I think I hadn't blocked her. I think Snapchat or something. So they found a way to be like, hey, I'm trying to call you. I'm trying to holla. I'm like, I'm giving you 5 minutes out of being blocked. And you're back until I'm ready. And for me, I was like, I'm protecting my space. You know, I know this is toxic. It's not working. We both, you know, one of us needs to just decide to cut this thing off. Yeah. So I think that's also a different way to look at it. And it's important, even when you're going through a breakup or an ex or something, you don't want to be seeing their stuff all the time. You know, you don't want to be seeing where they're at, who they're with, they're smiling,
sometimes
they're
ghosting
happy.
is justified in that way, to be honest. Because like, if you know why I'm not responding to your message, please.
Yeah, you know, because it all starts with a hi. And then we're back to then the toxic cycle.
You know exactly why I'm not responding to your messages, or you did me that, and then you're just casually. Because men also like to test whether you're still stupid.
Amnesia, like they have no bipolar, like it was another person the night before.
Amnesia. Why are you so upset?
But that's the worst thing, because it's manipulation, it's gaslighting, because now you start thinking, kwani I'm overreacting, maybe it wasn't that bad. Yeah, you know, maybe I miss like
man.
Thank you, Jehovah.
Amnesia, for real. Because they can do you dirty yesterday night, and the morning they're asking you, hi,
did you get home well?
Did you get home well?
Oh, but you went home with another babe. You're asking if I got home well.
Why are you still so upset?
There's something wrong.
Like, you don't know why I'm upset. Okay. Let's move on. Yeah.
Hey.
I think, before...
anyway, back to the
even me, end last year was quite something.
Yeah, you had to decide.
I had to break some ties. And I think that's where I think maybe my ghosting was just right. Maybe I should have told, okay, there's someone who I told, okay, I can't keep talking to you because now I'm seeing someone. So, like, we can't keep having conversations. There's someone I ghosted, Evo too.
No, but some you don't owe them an explanation.
You don't really
like... Surely, we've had the same back and forth
for too long. What are you even like calling me for?
You're not dumb.
Una block number moja na kupata na namba ingine.
Anyway, sis, good sis, like, it's painful.
I even forgot to even doing a dilemma.
It's painful. I think for her, maybe it hadn't even reached that stage of, you know, like it's deep.
Like it's deep.
Yeah, I mean, but she had expectations, you know.
But maybe, you know, it also depends on the context, because, you know, you can feel maybe you've been trying to date and it's not working out. and then you meet this guy, you think, okay, this might be the one, you get a bit excited, and then they just like ghost you. For it to be 4 months after the ghosting happens and you're still trying to get over it, it must have been something that was very impactful or something that was deep. And I feel in that situation, I don't know, maybe like definitely should have given an explanation as to why. Yeah, because people sometimes are just like, we've all had our moments where we're not the best people. But honestly, like if you know this person like really, really liked you for real, like that deep, yani that deep, honestly, just give them an explanation and just like, instead of just ghosting them for them 4 months, but that way we move on, like please, girl.
No, me, I feel her.
Girl or
but
guy?
I think one
How do
thing
we know
she
it's a girl?
needs to this one wasn't anonymous. One thing she needs to, I think, it's not about you. You know, don't tie your self-worth
to that action.
Exactly. You're still valuable, you're still beautiful, you're still an amazing human being. And just because they made that decision, it doesn't affect who you are as a person. Like, it's standard. You're still an amazing person.
They just weren't your person.
Yeah.
Like, and so, if they were, they wouldn't have ghosted you.
Yeah. So. Don't attach your self-worth to their actions. That's on them. That's on them not knowing how to communicate. That's on them, and just brush it off. Like, life has some of those experiences that shake you a bit, but we're here to tell you there's light at the end of the tunnel, and the person who is serious about you will move with that intentionality and all that. Yeah.
You know what they say about how to get over someone?
You get on top of another.
Under, period. So
on top. Oh, under. Okay, whichever you prefer.
Anyway,
people are different.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Your preferred method. But why is it 4 months and you're still not... are you still open to dating? Like, go for dates. I mean, it's not okay. I'm talking like you just collect Kevin from I don't know where. Like, go for events or go on the dating apps. Like, try and move on also. I'm not saying it's the best way to like move on from someone, but definitely a distraction is possibly something you need as well.
Yeah, and also look at the pattern that maybe led to that. Maybe things that, those red flags that you are like, okay, these are orange flags, they're not even red. Try and see what else you can do differently, and maybe that will inform your future relationships. Your mates like, okay, but if this is not working, it's the manga. It's not do or die, and maybe you are settling for less already with that person, so it's like, what did you expect? Or maybe you are ignoring the signs. Yeah, so it's a good time to introspect, reflect, but exhale and
fall in love back with yourself.
Yeah, just move on. The power. I know you're the prize.
You
always.
are the prize. Yeah. Next one. How is it like working as friends, and what would you advise friends who want to start a business together?
Okay, so if you've not listened to episode 1, maybe you can listen to it on how the podcast came to be. I think that's when we gave the introduction, but that's like 10 years ago.
I don't even remember
what is it? Yeah, but I think for us, okay, one of the things, before we started the podcast, we weren't friends. We were acquaintances. We knew of each other. We had hung out a couple of times, but we weren't friends. So of course, and that's a bit riskier. You're learning each other within the work, But I think sometimes it's better that way.
I think it's better that
I think
way.
Sometimes when you know someone too much, you have more expectations.
Maybe.
So you fear committing to, now let's say, a business. I don't know.
I think really consider, okay, as much as they're your friend, how do you know them as someone who is their professional lifestyle, or how they are, even in the small things that maybe you're ignorant about, that this person is, okay, my problem is, for example, I'm always late. This person is always late. Is it something you're willing to accommodate?
Yeah, I should have really asked myself that in 2020.
Or this person is, I don't know,
bad with money.
It's bad with money management. There are things. One, about don't be oblivious about the negative sides of your friend, but also just learn if those are the small things, are things you're ready to tolerate, but also who are they normally, like in a professional outlook? Are they someone you feel you would like vibe with? Business is also almost like a relationship as well, so there's some level of compatibility that needs to also be there. What kind of business is it going to be? For us, it's a podcast, and, are they a 9 to 5? Are you a work from homer? like, I don't know, there are a lot of factors to consider. So maybe do a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
That's my first advice. Do you have an alternative? I don't 100% recommend, especially business, like, okay, let me not say this business and business not.
No, there is.
But yeah,
there's different levels to business. Even this is different.
Yeah, deep business. Like you really need to
hands-on businesses,
like
lots of money.
It's, fallouts are expected. Maybe like
difference in opinion.
Are you willing to lose your friend for this? Of course, you can create those agreements of, we'll never let this come between us. But life happens, babes. Life really, really does happen. So if it's business, I personally wanted, I approached Alexia because I also didn't want someone who was a really good friend, to be business with. I'm very iffy about starting like intensive businesses with friends. It's either it's going to work or it's not going to, or it's going to work for that season. I think just go for it. If it doesn't work out, too bad, but do a pros and cons list first. And if it's looking more pros than cons, then go for it. And also just get to know from them like how they feel. Like they also should do a pro and cons list so that it's not just one-sided. Write an agreement at the beginning to just set your ground rules as your friendship and your business, and then like use those things. Even as we wrote to rules.
I'm just saying our agreement is on docs. Actually signed.
Truly agree to.
Word of mouth.
How is it, anyway, you've not answered, how is it working as friends?
I think it's fine. I think the main thing also, you have to see if you complement each other. She has her strengths, I have my strengths, she has her weaknesses, I have my weaknesses. So we sort of complement each other. But at the end of the day, the goal is the same and we both know what we're trying to achieve. So showing up, you don't have to beg someone to show up.
Yeah, the level of seriousness matters a lot. You can be so passionate about this thing and your friend is just like, yeah, let's do it.
So
that's how my previous podcast kind of failed, because for me, I saw such a big vision of podcasting and what I want.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, okay, okay, let's do this. And so it got frustrating because it felt like I was in this alone, even like you're forgetting we're supposed to record today and I'm in studio, you're not like, so even if maybe Alexia doesn't pick up the phone or I don't pick up the phone, like I'll still show up. Even if maybe I'll be late, I'll be there, So the level of seriousness matters so much, because especially if you're the one proposing the idea, just make sure that you're on the same level of like wanting to succeed.
Yeah. And as you said, cover your bases, like make sure the agreements are in place. You don't have to start fighting over profit share, if it's 60-40, if it's 50-50, and also be comfortable with the fact that the business might fail, in that it can't work, or both of you have to close the business down because both of you can't see eye to eye, or like when you decide to take that risk, or it could either blow up, be amazing, or blow up, be amazing, then you fall out. Like,
every business has its peak, its stagnance, its downs. So be ready to have the risk of maybe not having that friendship survive. But also I think after, I don't know, I feel like it's just working with Alexia's.
We don't know how to give bad advice because we good over here. We good. But I think also for me, there's sometimes I've thought about starting businesses with friends, even with family. And I'm like tutakosana. I'm just like,
it's very risky.
I don't want to think of that, That's why sometimes they say better a stranger.
Someone you just know kwa umbali.
Yeah, and fight is not affecting, you used to hang out with this person. It's not affecting your day-to-day life. But of course, even as you, with a stranger, you grow to enjoy this person or to...
But the foundation has been set well because of the business and not... And then, I feel like it's completely different. Yeah. But I know friends who work really well together. So, like people start their businesses as friends. It's either or. You can't just cover your bases. That's all. Yeah.
And be open-minded, but also have open communication. Because I think assumption and me sitting with my thoughts and saying, she did this today. We didn't go with my idea. She's always taking the limit. She's, when you sit alone and gossip with yourself and come up with these things, so just make sure you have a space where you can both openly communicate with each other and be like, okay, let me hear you out. Okay, let's now make a decision for the business, Yeah. And maybe have another third party just to be the objective member of the business in case, sometimes both of you are on different pages. At least someone can give an external opinion.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Next question we have is how do you learn to receive love?
Deep. By first giving. I'm trying to be as deep.
I feel like maybe
to yourself.
It can feel like you're giving so much love and you're not receiving it.
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I'm
built
saying.
a barrier.
Giving to yourself. I think it starts with, if I don't show up for myself, I won't even know how it is to receive. I think with receiving, there needs to be something that I've already... Let me put it, for example, you just got into a relationship, your self-esteem is at the pits, you hate yourself, you hate everything, you're not in a good place. Even your partner showing love to you becomes toxic. You're like, get off my face, or you're looking for the drama. You get into you become toxic even because you've not first loved yourself. You've not first cultivated that land, that soil to now receive and for something to flourish. Because, I think you cannot receive something you've not given yourself already. I don't know if I'm making sense. But
I get your point. It's very valid. Like self-love is number one so that you know exactly what love may look like. But I feel like there's also maybe a difference between how it is to love yourself and someone else loving you. But I completely agree that loving yourself has a lot to do with how you allow yourself to receive love. My thought process, though, is that you need to address whatever traumas that are making you feel like you need to build a wall that you can't receive love. Like, is it something that you lacked in your childhood? Is it something that you're not too familiar with? Like, do you push it away because it's like a coping mechanism of whatever it is when similar situations come about? So for me, if you really, 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 really do struggle to receive love, it has to stem from somewhere that has made you feel the need to build a wall for you. And that's why, like, yes, it also ties into you having that self-love, but even if it's tying to you having that self-love is inclusive of you addressing why it is that you're not receiving the love. You're not allowing yourself to receive love. So, and of course, people now... I love that a lot of my friends are in therapy right now, and it's such an open conversation. Like, I was my therapist, or this is that. I love that people are maybe taking that extra step to figure out what it is, because we all have our traumas, and really and truly, I do think that you first need to address why, even if it's with yourself. Why is it so difficult? You'll be surprised the things you write down. Why is it so difficult for me to receive love? I think it's because you'll write 2 pages, 3 pages, and then you read it back and you'll be like, wow, you've let it all out. And then you know why, and then now you figure out how to fix it. Because we can say loving yourself, people take that as maybe outside things of maybe I need to gift myself. It's the self-love, it's the work,
it's the ugly work, actually. Most
of
the time it will look ugly
self-love
because
is not cute.
The traumas and all these things coming to the forefront, and you realizing you've been avoiding or cutting off because maybe you feel you don't deserve that.
You feel like you don't deserve it, and you find it, and you do know that also affects whoever is trying to love you very deeply. So this is not just a you thing. Like, if you're struggling to receive love, that guy is also probably struggling to show you love, or like they're loving you so much, but you're not loving them back.
It's frustrating,
so
for sure.
It's very frustrating. It's a very frustrating situation. It's not something that's light. 100%, I think you need to address it within yourself first. Easier said than done, of course. But yeah, I think that's, for me, the best way for you to learn how to receive love. Once you do the dirty work, and then now you start to learn that I'm the prize. I deserve good things in life. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to
be
feel
taken care of. Maybe you've been so independent your whole life, so you're wondering, why do you want to do that for me? Do you think I am weak?
You're suspicious about everything.
So now you start a fight, and someone is like, eh?
Yeah, like, so work on yourself.
Yeah. The work, do the work.
I think we only have one more that we're going to cover today, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Can you guys talk about family trauma, especially violent dads? Hey.
I don't think we have any experience, with a violent dad.
No. I mean, okay, like I was listening to, I told you I was listening to, I said, and people were, sometimes we were being beaten. Okay, but we can't, okay, this is a serious dilemma. Let me not say that.
I don't think my dad is ever beaten,
Hey.
But violence can be the words.
Me, I was told I used to be such a big crier that my dad beat me.
Oh, for crying? You're crying too much? Sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, just do the question again, sorry.
Can you guys talk about family trauma, especially violent dads? Maybe we can start with family trauma, and then violent dads, I'm not sure we're able to give you a lot more context, simply because it's not something that we relate to per se.
Yeah.
I think the best way to deal with a negative environment is to leave that environment, but you need money to do those things. So my number one thing is, how do you leave that toxic... but she's not talking about it now, is she? She's just talking about the trauma of it.
Yeah, I think it's the trauma of it. I think one thing that I love is that she has already identified that it was toxic and it was traumatizing. So now you have to move from that, because I know it can affect so many relationships, one with men in your life, with your family, and even just how that trauma made you condition yourself, as a defender or as so uptight on defense mode all time, all day, So I think first, congratulations to you that you've identified that was a traumatizing thing, and your dad being violent affected you one way or another. I think the first thing I'd tell you is, one, forgive yourself and forgive your father. Forgive yourself, because sometimes I feel like I should have done better. I should have stood up for myself. I should have stood up for my younger sibling. I should have stood up for my mom. You don't know. Maybe the mom was also being violated and stuff like that. And number two, forgive your father. Not for him, but for you. I think it gives you, forgiving other people gives you power and gives you peace to actually move past whatever happened, because at the end of the day, it happened, and we're not justifying it. It's sad. Your father should have been there to protect you, but it was instilling violence. So I think just letting that go, and then now actively addressing it, of course, with the help of counseling, therapy, and not expecting it to be instant, because there's some things that will happen that will trigger you. But being aware of those triggers and being aware of where this is stemming from, and actively doing the work to get yourself out of there, and not repeat the same behaviors or not condone the same things. Yeah. It's not an easy journey, let me just say. It's not an easy
journey. I think family trauma is something that you go through for such a long time, especially if it's a toxic household. Like, this is your whole life, basically. Yeah. And so even getting over it is not going to be an immediate process. It's also going to take you time. I don't think you'll ever 100% heal from it, because it's like how you grew up. Like, you store a lot in your mind about your childhood. True. How to address it is, I think Alexia said forgiveness, which is 100% correct. But how do you even get yourself to forgive in the first place? I think that's also a difficult process in itself. I think you need to really go through all the negative emotions. You need to journal, you need to give yourself grace in the process as well, and you need to probably talk to a therapist to help you through the process, because doing it alone, if you are close with your siblings as well who have maybe experienced similar traumas, trauma bonding is actually a very good way of getting over things, or being able to talk. You need to talk about it, because sometimes you just store it within yourself and you don't address it, and then you just keep continually having the negative emotions just store up in you. But I really do think if you do have a sibling you can talk to and relate to, because they know exactly what you experienced, that's the best way to start. where you just have that open dialogue so that you can cry together, you can, talk about, even me, I was feeling the same thing, like this just something that happens when you discuss such things, as well as to now adding a therapist into the equation if you can. You'll be surprised that, depending on where your financial standpoint is, but you'll be surprised how many affordable therapists are out there, or free therapists that maybe are good for you, that can help you, because people these days, and not these days, have always linked therapy to being expensive. But I think so many other solutions have been built these days, honestly. And if you don't have like the other day, my friend who's in USIU, she told me, I never knew on campus they had free counseling and free therapy, and she'd been going for sessions, about 3 of them, and she just told me these are really, really good therapists, and people don't even, I knew for fear she's about to finish. Now is when I'm knowing about the therapy services that they offer. But I also think she has that extra push because people are now very much talking about therapy, and like I'm having conversations. I know at least 5 people who are in therapy. I know people who are in couples therapy, because they're figuring out how they're planning their life together. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be a bad thing, but in this situation, and just don't think that going to therapy is the solution, that is all your problems disappear. Going to therapy is just the beginning of a very tough Pandora journey. Box, and honestly, all the therapist does is ask you questions that will really make you open up more to mostly yourself. It's not for her or for him, but it's for yourself. So that's what I'd say.
Actually, I think therapy is free in all national or some county level 5 hospitals. It's usually free. And then also another thing is, don't feel guilty from distancing yourself from your family, from your father. Just because you've forgiven does not mean the relationship has to exist. It's fine.
Honestly, you can detach.
You can, because
figure out how to live as you and your own life, especially if you feel you need to detach.
It's different. Sad. Maybe someone wants to, maybe you can reach an agreement and you guys are buddies, but sometimes it's just not there, and the hope of it being there can actually kill you, because sometimes hope is just too much. Sometimes you just need to accept, or maybe even your father has passed on, so there's no relationship to mend, so what do you do with that? You just have to
eventually forgive.
And just closure. No, we're ending on such a deep, powerful
note. I really enjoyed this dilemma segments that we've done. Guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I can't believe in 2023 we're still asking for 1,000 subscribers. Let's be serious. Please just subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. On YouTube, if you're listening on the listening platforms, hello. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe or follow from wherever you're listening through as well. Put on the notification bell so that you can know whenever we drop episodes, which should be ideally every single Friday. But we are soon going to take a break. Just a short one, but we won't be on break on our socials, so you should probably follow up on our socials as well at Banter Over Brunch. And I don't know if
huge shout out to everyone who sent in a question, who sent in a dilemma.
Meaningful ones.
Yeah, the meaningful ones, the ones who are asking funny questions. Grow up,
shape up, shape out.
But anyway, thank you. And as Ali said, we'll probably do it maybe every month. We could have a episode that we sort of because it also helps us talk about a wide range of topics, so
the more you engage with us, the more we can even have a segment every single episode where we're just solving people's problems. That's something we're definitely open to doing. Keep up with us, keep up with the brunchies.
So guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Be sure to catch us on the next next week's episode is season finale. Is it? Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh my God.
It is. So lots of cake, lots of a lot of things.
Tears.
Yeah, it's the birthday stroke season finale episode. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Be sure you cannot miss it. You cannot miss it.
You have to be there.
Be there or be square. Or go
period or circle, but you need to be there.
All shapes
matter.
Where
did that even come from? Be there, be square.
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
Good question. We shall find out after the episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Goodbye.